I thought I was living my best life, my dream life. I had just moved to Costa Rica. I had Mercedes G Class business opportunity. By the time I left Costa Rica, I was broke, I was beaten, I was making an 8 hour taxi ride run for the Panamanian border so that I. Today is story time. So, in 2014, I thought I was living my best life, my dream life. I had just moved to Costa Rica. I had my first of hopefully what will be more than just one Mercedes G Class vehicles. It was old, but it was in moderate shape, and I like cars, and I like that car. Anyway, this was supposed to be the business opportunity of a lifetime, supposedly. I was with friends who purchased some land and were going to be doing a boutique hotel. And I was going to get the beach bar concession. So things were wonderful, right? Well, don't you know that they didn't end up that way at the end. By the time I left Costa Rica, I was broke, I was beaten, I was alone, and I was making an 8 hour taxi ride run for the Panamanian border so that I might not go to jail in Costa Rica. In order to understand Costa Rica, though, don't mind me, I'm just going to do a little cooking while we're here. In order to understand Costa Rica, though, you have to understand where I had been before that. Don't want to seem like I'm a flunky, but I don't know. Bad things happen to good people. Long story boring, though, is before I was in Costa Rica, I was in North Dakota. Ever been there? I used to call it the devil's asshole. And I was there because I had another lovely offer for, shooting fish in a barrel, the best thing that's going to happen to you, from my mentor, and who I'd known for, you got it, 20 years. And it was actually where I was the first feet on the ground to develop the largest sewage waste disposal plant in the world that was a fast system, just like a microbiotic system. Long story boring. I am up in North Dakota, and my mentor gives me the shaft. His name is Raymond R. Worth. He lives in Denver. Anyway, my friends Greg and Wendy, who had more money than me, maybe I should have used air quotes, they felt for me terribly and said, come with us, start a new life. We're moving out of the country. And initially, I went for I think it was about 12, 14 day trip where they flew me down to Chile, because initially they were looking at moving to Chile or Argentina. And it was fantastic. I was like, this is awesome. They're gonna rescue me effectively. Um, and in the meantime, my dad dies, right? So this is like 2014. Then my dad dies. I go home to Massachusetts where I grew up for a year, worked on the renovation of my family home, and then I left with in 2016 because Greg and Wendy had been telling me how fantastic life was going to be. And then they showed me, I had a 12, 14-day trip all through South America. We looked at all kinds of properties. They were loaded. They were taking me along for the ride. Oh. And ultimately, they took me for a ride. Greg and Wendy. Wendy Wall and Greg Gibbons. I'm getting these names down because ultimately, your dirt comes back to you. So I get down to Costa Rica the very first time when Greg and Wendy invite me down there, and it's fantastic. And they live like rock stars. And I signed up, bounced back to the States, get my act together to get out of Dodge with all of this, well, not all of this money, but all of this money, my savings, my inheritance from my father that was split, 4 ways in our family. And I go for it. It's gonna be an incredible time. And this is after, 1 visit, 2 visit, and that was following the, junket to Argentina and Chile and so forth. And when I got there, things are awesome at first. But Greg did tell me that his wife was crazy, and that's kind of why he wanted me there. Now, I knew his wife before I knew him, and but I knew from talking to her for the previous months that she was kind of going down this rabbit hole, if you will. And in that, I'd gone down that rabbit hole a little bit with her, kind of, in the sidecar. And I thought, well, it's not that bad. She just thinks some things that are a little crazy. These were the Russians on YouTube that, what was his name? Mueller told us all about in the second part of the report. All of this garbage that she'd been eating up had actually convinced them to go down there. And then, as far as I knew, because the world was going to end, the Queen eats babies, and there's blood in Coca-Cola, and all of this stuff, right? I figured, you're going to get a good time out of this, a good life, and if she's a little crazy now, and she gets down there, and if she's down here, she'll kind of pull herself out of it. She did not pull herself out of it. We could not use bleach in the house. We couldn't tell anybody about anything because they're all gonna get us. And it just kind of unraveled over time, little by little, but it unraveled. And then there was the next thing. So when I'd first gone down there, I said, I wanted to have some other guarantee that things would be all right for me if things didn't work out or whatever. And I was gonna, buy a few boats and ship them down and then have like a boat rental. Wendy had told me, no, 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 don't do that. We already are working on this boat thing and you can join us. And that's basically kind of how they got into my money is, we need money to do this for the boat. We need money to do that for the boat. If you're going to be a real partner in this, blah, 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 blah. And by the end of it, all I'm watching is Wendy and her 3 kids in their matching orange luggage leaving the house, with Wendy telling me, we have got to handle this and we have got to save Greg, and I am heading back to the United States with the kids and we're going to fix this and you just have to be patient and wait here. And I'm like, that's cool. That you kind of didn't tell me that you were fugitives and I'm now stuck with you in a rental house because we haven't been able to get down to the property but 2 times. So I've seen it, but not ever been on it. And now you're telling me I am staying here in this rental house and with the Manny until further notice. Got it? On the way out the door, Wendy says, as I'm trying to say, can I get some of my money back so I can live and not be poor in Costa Rica where I can't work? So by now, it's been, I don't know, Wendy slowly stopped responding to me when I was asking about what was going on and when was she going to be back and what's up with the internet and so forth. I had to kind of think about what I was going to do next, and with this document I knew it gave me a lot of leverage, and with that leverage I knew that there were 2 shipping containers full to the gills of like brand new dishes in the 10s or 30s or whatever, like just tons of like stuff for this Airbnb or this boutique hotel / Airbnb, whatever it was going to be, breakfast and bullshit or whatever. And I decided, I mean, they brought in a Unimog, a Mercedes Unimog. I don't know if you know what those are, but Google Mercedes Unimog. It is a heavy duty, brand new now, probably $300,000 machines. This one was a little older. I think he paid like maybe 60 to 80 for it or something. They had the Land Cruiser, I had my G-Wagon, anyway, I decided for all the things they had a sawmill, just computer stuff that was worth money. And I decided, since they shut me off and I had not had communication with them, that what I would do would be to have the biggest Tico yard sale that Dominical, Costa Rica ever saw, and I would get my money rather than me trying to bake cookies and sell them on the beach after Wendy had told me on her way out, when she was telling me how selfish I was, Chad Church, there's enough beans and rice in this house to last you for the next 2 years. I swear to God, that was her quote. I didn't go to Costa Rica to eat beans and rice. I mean, maybe once or twice a week. It's kind of a thing down there. But for the next 2 years, not so much.